Tekken was a weird learning experience for me, because I was used to games where the quickest attacks were around 3 frames, not the 10 frames we've come to expect in Tekken. This is probably to make animations look nice, and to allow for varying degrees of punishment levels and mechanics that you can react to. Street Fighter had to allow you to cover majority of the options with a crouch block, because even one of the slower moves, a crouching roundhouse, is around 7 frames. A very quick low in Tekken is around 12 frames. That's so much slower than a roundhouse, yet still way too fast to react to. So what can we react to? I know a lot of people like to go and do reaction testing, which is nice, but it doesn't nearly paint the full picture. If we look specifically at lows, one of the classic seeable lows is Brian's Snake Edge. This comes out pretty much at half a second. Unless you have something quite wrong with you, you should be able to react in half a second. So why do we still get hit? Let's remove lag from the discussion, because things become murky when you throw in the L word. Realistically, the only reasonable excuses you have to get hit by Snake Edge offline is that you've never seen it before, or you've been caught using a move. Once you've seen it a few times, you're golden. But why does it feel harder, at least personally, to block Noctis's down back 2 than it does Lars's down 1+2? Well, I trained myself to listen to the sound that Noctis does for his down back 2, not realizing he also does the sound for his mid spear move. Lars does share the audio line for his down 1+2 with another mid, but there is such an obvious animation to go along with it that I hardly ever get hit by it. Now I'll also link to a paper that I found that talks about how much faster we respond to audio stimulus than visual, so it's a pretty big deal to have an audio cue. If you've been practicing breaking throws in the lab, you may have been quite proud of yourself for getting most of them right, only to go into a match and broke around 0 out of 25 throws that your opponent performed. That's because we're not just looking for throw breaks during a match, we're focusing on our opponent's patterns, our movement, duckable strings, and the previously mentioned snake edges. We as players need to prioritize what is the most important thing at that current time. Some people on the net have come up with the phrase mental stack, which I think is a pretty nice way to put it. You don't need to worry about throw breaks when they're at range 3, but you do need to worry about that big sword. If kings are often buffering giant swing after a certain move, if you put that option to the forefront of your mental stack, it becomes much easier to react to it than if you are focusing on everything else. The same goes for certain lows. It can be much easier to react to High Archie's down back 2 when it's at the end of the round and he's been trying to finish you off with it for the last few rounds. When you're feeling lost and getting hit by things that you know shouldn't work, take a breath. Figure out the scenarios that these situations are occurring in and try to notice patterns or specific setups. Maybe the opponent is doing a tell that you're not picking up on. Or maybe you're focusing on an option that either wouldn't work or is such a low reward that it shouldn't be a priority. Become comfortable with your character and practice analysing your opponent mid-match. You may find that you can react to more when you prioritize better.